The Fourth Amendment has been a large part of what it means to be an American and have rights since it was added as part of the Bill of Rights in 1791. Over the years, the Fourth Amendment has protected Americans and has been at the center of many different debates and conversations about matters such as privacy in a school environment, privacy as a citizen, and most recently, privacy regarding the internet and cell phones. We sat down with Fishers High School social studies teacher, Mr. Matthias, to ask him about the importance of the Fourth Amendment.
So the Fourth Amendment is very important because it is a protection for the people against the government unfairly and intrusively invading their privacy. The unwarranted searches and seizures that you have a right to your own property and your own person, that the government has to have ample and have good reasons to invade that privacy. And that's one of the things that separates our country and our system, our democracy, our democratic republic, from a authoritarian regime. That we have these rights, that the government respects us as people and grants us those rights of privacy.
A large conversation regarding the Fourth Amendment has been how it applies in a public school setting and what the limitations of those rights are. A landmark court case took place in 1985 that would establish the basis of how privacy is handled in school settings. In New Jersey versus TLO, a 14-year-old female student was searched at school after being caught smoking in the bathroom. They found a pack of cigarettes, weed, large amounts of money, and a list of students that owed her money. She went to the New Jersey Juvenile Court and was found guilty of delinquency. We sat down with Fishers police officer Mike Johnson to talk about these matters.
So in a school environment, the Fourth Amendment is very important. Don't misunderstand me. But there are other things that the courts have ruled over the years that have determined that there are some other things that have to be weighed as it relates to a student's privacy. For example, school safety. So if someone is investigating a threat to students or a threat to the safety of the school on the streets, an officer would have to establish some sort of probable cause to believe a crime has occurred before they can search someone without their consent. In a school setting, all we need in a school setting is a reasonable suspicion that there's a safety concern involved, or a reasonable suspicion that there has been some sort of issue that maybe someone has drugs on them, and we believe that might be the case. Well, we can look into that a little bit further in a school setting, because the government, the school, the principal, the teachers, your school resource officers, we all have the additional responsibility to make sure that not only is everybody safe from unreasonable search and seizure, but you're also safe from other issues like attacks or shootings or drugs or et cetera. So the restrictions placed on school officials is slightly less than what's placed on police officers on the street. The banner case in this particular area is TLO versus New Jersey. In the TLO case, there was a principal who searched a student for under the suspicion of drugs, actually she was under suspicion of smoking cigarettes, and when the principal searched her belongings, he found drugs, a ledger for drug sales, and proof that she's a drug dealer, along with a whole bunch of cash and other illicit things that she shouldn't have on her in school. So he notified the authorities. She was arrested for dealing drugs in school. They fought the case under the fact that he had no right to search her because he did not have probable cause. And it turns out the courts ruled that all he needed was this reasonable suspicion, and he indeed had that. And so the search was allowed to be conducted.
Another case that stirred up lots of controversy with students' rights to privacy in school was in 2009 with Safford Unified School District versus Reading. Savannah Reading was a 13-year-old student who was accused by her classmate Marissa Glens for owning prescription pills that Marissa had given to another student. Savannah was then searched extensively. Not only her backpack and her pockets were searched, but also inside her undergarments. She sued the school for violating her rights.
So it's going to come down to balancing a student's right to privacy and then the school's right to protect other students from dangerous substances.
Absolutely. That's the balancing act that will have to be done here. And you could tell in the questioning yesterday, the court is struggling with this because you can say, okay, this young woman, it was an abuse, shouldn't have been done. But you could see inner city schools where very serious drug problems occur, and you might want to give the school more leeway. My own suspicion is the court is not going to look favorably upon this in the long run, and at the very least will come up with some standard where if the school is going to do something so dramatic, they better have more than a reasonable suspicion.
The Supreme Court ruled that indeed Savannah's Fourth Amendment rights were violated. The Fourth Amendment and the right to privacy is essential to what it means to be an American and ensuring Americans' basic rights as citizens.